How many people who've been here, if you've been here 3 days, you've heard it. It's on the web. How many people have heard that? Doesn't that suck? You know, day 2 I heard that. Yeah, it does. It's on the web. Yeah. Where is it at? You know, it's like it's in the, where's the tree? It's in the forest. Right? Where is it, right? Where's the leaf? It's on the tree. Kind of thing. Well, let's just look. I'm going to show you some shortcuts. I'm going to use the external Cisco site for all the things that I show you. Why? Because our customers can go there. Our customers, again, that's one of the big changes the internet brought. Used to be a salesperson who used to show up, used to bring brochures because they gave information. We go in and talk to customers today, they know as much about us as we know about us, maybe even more. Right? That internet's changed the way the sales game happens. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up my laptop here, in theory. And if I don't get my glasses on, we're about stopped right here. Mean old father time. I wonder if that's going to work. Let's see. Hey, it worked. So, let's look online at our Cisco external website, and I'm going to show you some shortcuts. This is the easiest. This is one of the coolest things I can show you if you don't already see this. And this is probably a little secret to. I don't know why they keep it that way. If I want to go look at switching, there's something called the Go strategy. www.cisco.com/go/switching. If I just do Go switching, it's going to take me to the switching page on Cisco.com. If I want to look at routers, go routers. If I want to look at security, if I want to look at voice, if I want to look at video, it's a Go strategy. Just /go/whatever technology. I'm really surprised that sometimes people say, and here's how they've divided it up. So let's look at our access switches. Our featured products. We're going to start down here at the bottom. Our Catalyst 2960 series of switches. Layer 2 fixed switches and layer 2 through 4 services. Well, what that means is it can do 802.1x, it can do some cool things and read into the frame a little bit deeper, but it's going to assign VLANs and not be able to route VLANs. So this is a layer 2 only. So the 29 is a layer 2 only switch. These are access layer switches. It provides power over Ethernet plus. So let's just go to this page here. It has 8, 24, or 48 fast Ethernet port configurations, or gigabit Ethernet port configurations, depending on what you want. We can go to compare models. Go here. Why does that not slide over?
Is there a kind of logic behind the numbering?
Yes, that's the only logic I can figure out on it. The layer 2 switches, 2900s. The layer 3 switches, starting with layer 3, 3000 series.
So the 2960 or 2940. So is the number of ports or something?
Well, they've subsetted some of those for just industrial switches or this, that, and the other. So compact switches. I'm trying to get this thing to go over. I think I got to do a view. There we go. So we've all seen Cisco part numbers. I'm going to actually decipher some of them for you. If you've ever seen a Cisco bomb or Cisco part number. This thing's got a laser on it somewhere. Let me figure out where it's at. Ah, here it is. Oh, yeah. So, LAN-based layer 2. WS, work group switch. That's what WS stands for. It's a legacy term. C, Catalyst, 2960S. That's the latest models we have. S means stackable. It's a layer 2 stackable switch. 48 tells me how many ports are on the switch. 48 Ethernet ports for users. Kind of cool. 24 is going to have 24 ports. Then the next T is twisted pair. That means it's copper. Users are going to use copper to connect up to it. Then the next D tells me the uplinks, the connection out of the switch. We have special connections out of the switch called uplinks. That D stands for 10 gigabit, I guess DESA, right? So 10 gigabit. This has two 10 gigabit connections out of the switch. So in essence, this switch is going to look like this. It's going to have 48 Ethernet connections here that are copper, and then it's going to have two 10 gigabit uplinks that we could use fiber optics to get to the next switch, to the distribution switch. Yes? That's the brand. That's the brand. That's all it is. Came from the Crescendo acquisition. It was their brand of switches, and Cisco's maintained it. Yes?
Can you go through that again?
Yeah.
T was twisted for copper.
Yeah.
T is what?
T means twisted for copper. D means the uplinks are 10 gigabit uplinks. The only thing I can think of is DESA. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Say what?
Yes.
Yes, is that what it is? And then L means LAN-based software. LAN-based software. It means it gives you the full-featured LAN-based software. So if you look at this switch here, is there anything about power? No. If we want to find something with power, we might step down here. WSC2960S48 FP. Full power. We can give 30 watts of power out all the ports on that. That's what FP stands for. If we have just LP, it's limited power. We can only do so much power. About half the number of ports for 30 watts of power on that. So that's the...
Is there a cheat sheet that shows you all this stuff? Or
No, ma'am. Not that I know of.
And how many SKUs did you say there were?
How many SKUs? Well, we got as many as Walmart. Yeah. And they change between switch. Yes, sir.
I'm just thinking my next conversation with
Yeah.
the CEO, how I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah. You should have this conversation with the CEO, right?
Should I ask L or S? What is that again?
All right. So the last, like here, S is SFP.
No.
Oh, the L is land-based software. These things come in two types of software, land-based, or they have an S-base here, that's down here, I think. Well, that's here, right? That's there. If I have S down here, that's LAN entry.
There'll be a test on the slide.
No, there will not be. I'm just showing this so you'll kind of be familiar with this. After you see this the first 10,000 times, and I hope you do, because that means you're selling a lot of stuff, you'll understand this. But there is rhyme and reason through these things. And, yes, sir.
Do all of our competitors have stackable switches?
Excuse me?
Our competitors have
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Everybody's got some form of stacking. Matter of fact, back in the late 90s, Cisco considered stacking very, very non-cool until they sold a stackable switch. And then it became really cool, right? This switch stacks, and I'll tell you, you can only stack 4 of these switches, and it's not intelligent stacking. You really get 20 gig between the switches is all you're getting. You don't get a lot of intelligence between them. Notice that these guys probably don't have redundant power supplies in this, or 2 power supplies in the switch. There's only 1 power supply in this. What happens when the power supply goes out here? What'd you say? Did you say something? No. Oh, yeah. So there's only 1 power supply in these, and it's fixed power supply. It's a fixed power supply. So this is the lowest end of the Cisco switches. Layer 2 only, can assign VLANs but can't route between them. Could do some kind of cool things. Does support energy-wise, by the way. You can actually give power over Ethernet and manage it. But think about it. If I bought this switch, can I do power over Ethernet? No. I have to buy that switch. I can't upgrade one that doesn't do power to one that does have power. So I have to be very specific in what I do here. I have to be very careful in this. And I don't see a lot of reasons at an access switch where you don't put power over Ethernet today. That'd be kind of stupid. So I probably wouldn't do that. Even I wouldn't do that. But here's what the switch looks like, and we can go back 1 slide. And here's what they look like. That's what. Now see when you look at these things, see these yellow? That yellow. I say yellow. It's yellow. That's the power ports. So this one doesn't even provide power. That's a stackable. That's a WS-C2960S-24 port switch. It does. If it doesn't have yellow, it doesn't have power over Ethernet. So you can kind of tell that when you look at the front of these things. Not that I would want you guys to have to go in and look at all this stuff, because that would be a waste of your time for a salesperson. You want to sell a lot, you just don't want to see them.
But some you can add to them, right? You can add slots.
You're not in these, not in these, not in these. And again, depending on the uplinks that you have here, you can have either 10 gigabit uplinks or 4 1 gigabit uplinks, depending on what you order. This is the lowest end of the Catalyst family, and probably don't want to. Now, how do I get out of this? Smart Alec.
It's a pop-up window.
Yeah. You'd think he. Control W?
Well, not control command.
Command. Well, that might do it. That's Emily. This is Emily here, and this is her friend. And they were going out that night doing something. I don't know what they were doing, but it probably cost me a lot of money. That's all I can tell you. I'm just guessing if I had to guess. So let's go up, step up, and let's look at the 3560X, the 3560 switches. Let's look at what we say about these switches. So, first of all, built into all these switches, the 3000 and above, there's some other things that we've added into these. How about security? What if you want to encrypt all the information from a device all the way through the network? Wouldn't that switch port have to be able to do some encryption? Built into all of our 3500s and 3750, we've actually got MACsec, layer 2 encryption built into it, so it can actually encrypt all the way into the network and even through the network, built onto this. Why is that important? Is that important today? Yeah, probably not as important as it's going to be in a couple of years for certain things. What if you wanted to encrypt telepresence sessions? What if you're going to have a telepresence session with your CFO? He's going to be talking about an acquisition or something like that. They may require encryption all the way through the network so they can, some kind of compliance or this, that, and the other. These switches are already built for that. Not a lot of use for it today in most cases, but guess what? They're already ready. Cisco sees that's coming, that you're going to have to encrypt it all the way through the network, so they've already built that in there. Again, being able to do QoS, highest non-stop communications with redundant power supplies. So you can order this with redundant power supplies that are hot swappable. So if your customer says my network can't be down, this might be a switch that we look at. Reduce operating expenses with EnergyWise. So we have EnergyWise in this. Supports IPv6, power over Ethernet. Let's see what else they have in here. Best place to find information is like the data sheets. If you've ever seen a data sheet for some of Cisco's, here they are. Here's a data. Excuse me?
What does the X?
Well, it's just an upgraded version. Yeah. So this is actually the third version of these that we've had upgraded. Data sheets have all the capabilities and all this in them. They'll have part numbers and all this. Let's go back. I'll come back to this in a second with the 30. The 3560 is a standalone switch. It's not stackable. It's not stackable. So it's a standalone switch. It has two power supplies. You can do compare models here. Bang. And it comes with 3 different software versions. You could buy it with LAN-based software. It's a layer 2 switch. It does have some layer 3 capabilities, but not a lot. You can upgrade that same switch to make it a full layer 3 switch. Give it IP base, or you can actually upgrade it one more time to IP services and get a fully functioning router out of it. I mean, it'll do everything but clean your line, clean your.
So I see on here that they've got the land-based software and
Uh-huh.
IP-based software.
Mm-hmm.
Does it say what the recommended current versions are and what versions will be?
No, no, it will not tell you that. Now, again, if your customer has a version that they want to do, they want to have, it will ship with one, and they can actually downgrade it or upgrade it, whichever one they want to do, based on their maintenance or their requirements. Yeah, because a lot of customers, again, will, they might be running 12.4 and we ship it with 12.5, and they say, we don't put 12.5 in our network, we can upgrade it or downgrade it. Yes, sir.
Isn't it confusing for the market to have a layer 2 switch that has layer 3 functionality?
Yeah, but it's not uncommon today. It's not really uncommon. Yeah, most people say switches. Well, to me, I wouldn't even sell a customer if they did a layer 2 switch. I want layer 3 at the edge. For video, for multicasting and all this, there's so many uses for it. Security.
So what would be a layer 2 application?
If I have 50 small sites that are just going to have maybe 2 or 3 VLANs out there, I'd do it that way. Just do all my routing of that and the router. Like a very rural school system, or even 10 or 15 people in the office. That's probably what I do. Yeah. But anything other than that is probably going to be. Yes, sir.
Eddie, the different part
Mhm.
numbers that reflect the IP-based, land-based, or IP services. You sort of implied that you can buy the software license.
Yes,
after
yes.
that, so that effectively changes the model.
Exactly, it does. It does. You can order one, right? So I can order a land base, and then I can order an upgrade, about $2,000, and then make that a S, right? That's what you can do. So it's in essence buying a different switch. Or you could just buy the S anyway, right? So, but you would in essence change the part number of the switch that you had. Again, one of the other differences in this is it actually has a modular uplink. If I click right here, I think I'll see it. That has a modular uplink on these where you can actually go from 4 1 gigabit to 2 10 gigabit. So it's actually got a little bit of modularity to it in the 3560s. So these are 4 gigabit Ethernet uplinks to go to another switch. But what if I want a 10 gig? What if I'm rolling out video and those 4 1 gig pipes are only giving me 4 gig between my big switch and my distribution switch and this switch, and I need more bandwidth? Guess what? I could swap this out and put 2 10 gigs and get 20 gig between those switches. So it'd be much significantly more bandwidth. X is just the model of it, just an upgraded model. We had the G, so we had the 3750, and then the G model, and now the X model. It's just an upfitted switch we have. The 3750 is my favorite switch of the standalone family, and you'll see why here in just a second. 3750 has the same kind of services on it, power over Ethernet, all QoS and all this, but it's actually stackable. So if we go to the data sheets for this, we'll actually see that. So this is the front of the switch, and here's the back. Notice in the back of the switch, we have these cables here. That's intelligent connectivity. These look like independent switches, but actually one of them will be elected a master switch and run the whole show. It'll control all the routing tables and the CAM tables and the switching tables for all 9 switches in the stack. It gives you 64 gigabits between the switches and everything there. You'll notice this stack here, this is something very unique to Cisco as well. This is called power stacking. The power supplies in this switch actually are accessible and can provide power to another switch in stacks of 4. So in essence, I might reduce the number of power supplies that I buy in switches and actually just use this. So I could actually take that power supply out and that power supply out and let these others be failover for that one. So I might reduce the number of actual power supplies that I use. You can only stack 4 for power stacking. You can stack 9 in this. So it's very unique what Cisco's done here. Nobody else does that, this power stacking. And that means that if I hook a device in here that needed power over Ethernet, but the power supplies on this switch couldn't give it to me, the power supplies on this would give me that power across that bus. So it's a maximum of 4. In a stack of 9, I usually do 3, 3, and 3. Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah. But it's not a limitation from Cisco. It's actually the amount of electricity we're sending across there. It's the electrical, because there's a lot of juice running across this. You don't want to get across that. But this again has dual power supplies and dual fans, hot swappable on there. So it actually provides, and it comes in IP base, LAN base, IP base, and IP services. Let's go back to switches. Let's look at our distribution switches. The Catalyst 4500E, the switch that I have up here. Again, it comes, and we're going to do a little math now. It comes in the 4503. In the 4503, you get 3 slots. One of those slots is a supervisor. So how many usable slots do you get? Very good. Let's continue. We have the Catalyst 4506. 4506 has 1 supervisor slot. How many usable slots? 5. Here's the tricky part. The 4507R has 7 slots. 2 of those slots are reserved for supervisors. How many usable slots do you have? 5. 5. Yeah. You can't use it for anything else. Now, why would we have that? And why would you sell a 4506? That's my question. If you don't have to worry about redundancy, maybe you have 2 different switches, maybe buying redundant switches. Maybe that's what you want to do. What do you think the price difference is between the 2? Yeah, but you know what? I'd rather have the slot, not need it, than need the slot, not have it. That's something to think about. The difference in price in the chassis is right at $1,000 list. So I mean, unless there's if you see a 4506 go out, you got to figure out what the heck are you doing. Same cards and everything. I'd rather have the 7 and not use the slot than, because eventually you're going to come back to it. Do you think there's going to be more data, more requirements for reliability on the network in the next 2 or 3 years? Then probably more. Every day it's more. So it might be something that you look at. Now again, there are service providers, there are customers who've only qualified certain things in their networks, and that's what they have and everything. But I'm finding it less and less of a real reason for that. Obviously there is, because Cisco keeps pushing them out the door. And then we have the 4510R that has 10 slots. 2 of those slots are actually for supervisors, so you have 8 usable slots, and that's what we have up here. That's what I showed you up here. No, there's services. There's services in there. It can restart services, but there's no guarantee. There's dual processors and everything, but still, it's going to be in the services, because the Linux core, what it will do is if a service fails, let's say EIGRP services fail in the router, because it'll do routing, full routing. EIGRP services fail, it will try to restart those services on that card. It'll automatically try to do that. The rest of the card will work, but you're not updating your routing tables. That's not good, right? Yeah. The entire, it's right, unless you have a redundant switch, redundant supervisor. Yeah, absolutely.
And what about EMS for this?
EMS as far as?
System for protecting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it'll integrate with any of the solutions you want, SNMP or whatever based. Absolutely. I mean, and matter of fact, this is the one platform, because it's a Linux-based platform, you're going to see there's actually a couple of third-party applications that'll run on this thing in the Linux, and you can do some kind of network management and stuff like that in it, on the box itself.
So if there's a card failure on this, You would get notification.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely, yes, yeah. I mean, it'll give you temperature warnings, it'll give you anything you want, anything you want. It's got a whole environment, we got a whole plethora of things it'll do. You can have it tell us when the threshold gets above, you know, if its threshold is, you know, 80 degrees centigrade for shutdown, you can say when it gets above 50, 60, 70, you can put all the thresholds you want and it'll tell you. It can tell you anything you want. 4500 is Cisco's distribution or core switch that today. And again, it supports up to 860 gigabits per second. It's the only platform that does UPoE today. And again, UPoE is going to have a lot when we talk about VXI, we talk about virtualization at the desktop. Those little clients we have that actually drive the screens, you can actually drive the client and the screen there. So if a customer's looking at VXI, it might be a good kind of thing to do. Excuse me? UPoE is the 60 watts of power down to the individual device. And again, it's not a standard yet.
Is that across all ports and stuff?
Depending on your power supply. Depending on your power supply. You have to think, if you're going to do 60 watts across all that, oh my God, you better have like a nuclear generator somewhere close to you. I know I think what they've done is they can do it on like 24 ports of a 48 port now. So, but it's still it's kind of scary to think that much power is going through these. The 6500. Remember way back to this morning, and I was talking to you about the that SSL offload? We acquired a company. Guess where you think that went into? Catalyst 6500. Still a very unique switch. It's the only switch in the world that can have all these really cool things that go in it. I want to show you some of the things that will go in this, besides the supervisors and all this. Here's some of the it supports 40 gigabit and will support 100 gigabit of throughput connectivity. But I want to do service modules.
What's the meaning of the 6 series?
The 6500s? Yeah, well, it's just a platform that, again, Cisco has revisited the 5000. When Cisco originally got the Catalyst family of switches and everything, they had the 5000 series. And now they went to the 6000, and now they've, for their core switches. That's all it was.
So it's about the sizing, or what's the difference? Because you were saying that between the 2900 and the 30.
Yeah, 2900's layer 2 only.
2, 3.
Yeah, right. The 4500 is a layer 2 through 7 switch. It actually can read all the way through layer 7. It can watch the applications go through there. The Catalyst 6500 was our first layer 2 through 7 switch. Right, we took that capability down, and it's been down there for a while. So let's just look at service modules here. Again, the ACE. The ACE does server load balancing and SSL offload in the box and can virtualize inside of this box. So it's like taking a separate box and putting it inside of it. This thing's a switch, but it's got a router inside of it, but it does this as well. You can do firewall services, intrusion prevention, VPN services, network analysis, wireless LAN controller goes inside of this box. It does.
Separate modules, or
There's separate modules. There's separate modules that go in it. There's separate modules that go in it.
not by default.
Not by default.
You can choose one.
Believe me, we're very proud of these modules. If you look at the prices, you'll see why. We're very proud of these modules. For example, a firewall services module could be $30,000 easily. Our ASA service modules about $35,000, I think, list.
This is a build-it-yourself switch, right?
Yes, it's a build-it-yourself that does more than just switching, more than just routing. It does a lot more than that. It's the only device in the industry that does this, even today, to do all these services. Nobody else still does this. It was unique in 2000, and it's just as unique really today with all the different things it can do. Again, it's a little long of tooth, Been out there for a while. Cisco's going to support it for another 4, 6, 8 years, whatever they're saying and everything. As a core switch, if I made this a core switch with 10 gigabit, 100 gigabit Ethernet, I'd probably put a Nexus in there today. But you're still going to have some of these switches, customers still use them. This is still over $1 billion run rate per quarter for Cisco. So it's still pretty important. Bless you. Still a pretty important switch. Your customers may have this. It's an attack vector from Juniper. Juniper is going after these very, very aggressively, saying they're very old and all this, that, and the other. Absolutely. And Cisco's countering with the Nexus. The Nexus, which is our next generation switch. But there's still things that this thing does that nobody else does. So for service providers, we used to have modules in this thing for service providers that the modules cost $400,000 for. Just the modules in the thing.
Well, and to your point, Juniper has definitely attacked that market.
Oh yeah,
They're after it.
oh yeah, they are certainly after that from a Cisco perspective. So, oh, that didn't work out too well. Let's see what else. We'll go into data center switches a little bit later. I do want to show you the Nexus 7000, which would be our really a core switch. If you want to do Ethernet core, this is probably the switch you'd certainly want to do it on today. And it comes in several models, 4 slot, 9 slot, 10 slot, and 18 slot switches. Let me go back here and we'll just look at some 3D models. Let's do the 9 slot. I kind of like that one. Oh, well, that ain't going to work. I'm missing a plug-in. Maybe I can do it over here. No, I'm still missing a plug-in. Ain't gonna work. I have to get that plug-in and load it. Anyway, we'll look at this switch in data center again. But again, it comes with fabric modules on the back, so you can actually add fabric capacity between all the modules up to 15 terabytes on this. So it's a pretty unique switch. If your customer's got a core switch need, it's probably Nexus today. Probably a Nexus than the Catalyst 6500. So that's all on the switch products that we cover.